Hey everybody, Mike Toy, Bonsai Boise. This is a willow leaf ficus, sort of a clump style that I bought about a year ago. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any footage, and I don't even know if I took any when I first got it. Had it in a small pot for a little while, then I put it in this pot. This is a look at it a couple of months ago, in mid-October of this year. Sort of the end of the outside growing period. I just let it grow wild and gain a bunch of health. Haven't really styled it too much. I think I wired up a few branches a little bit, then took it off before they bit into the trunks or the bark. Today I'm going to do some work on it and do some kind of fine tuning and some real detail work. This is a look at it when it was sort of wild and crazy. Fast forward to today. This is a look at it. I'd already wired up a couple of branches one day. Again, didn't get footage of it. Really, I hadn't introduced this tree before, so this is, I think, the first time I'm really introducing it. As I started working on it, I realized, this is probably worth making a video on. It's starting to gain some character. I think I didn't really know what I was going to do with it yet. I was kind of playing around with some options, but with this, I'm going to go for just a clump style. Sort of has that going for it already. I think I counted 9 trunks coming off of this clump. As you can see, I wired some of them down already, and they sort of took shape and they sort of started to come back. Here's a closer look. You can see that big root? It's just sort of sticking up out of the middle of it. Gonna have to deal with that today. I've always known it was a problem, but sometimes these things kind of take care of themselves. They just sort of grow into it, but this one I don't think is going to. It's just staying the same and getting worse. That trunk I'm going to have to wire down a little bit more. So I haven't done a lot of clump styles with ficus. I've got a few ficus benjaminas that I'm doing it with, and I'm just in the beginning stages, so it's kind of a newer thing. I've done them on Scheffleras, but this is really the first clump style I've done with a ficus, that I'm actually starting to form a plan on. And that plan, at least for now, is to keep that clump in the middle and have all of the trunks going up and out. So, basically growing upwards with that slight lean out, and then a couple inches out, they take a more pronounced bend outward. So I'm cleaning up all of the leaves and foliage in the middle there, because I don't really want to clutter up that middle part. I want to keep it kind of neat and clean so that we can see the clump. That's sort of the feature of this tree. Of course, this is subject to change. I think it'll always be a clump style, but some of these finer details might change. So now what to do with this weird root coming out of the middle here? There's really only one thing you can do, and that's get rid of it. It's not a good looking feature. So send in the claw. Fortunately, my claw is not very sharp these days. I kind of nibble away at it. It's fighting back, as you can see. But at the end of the day, we won the war. This finer detail work isn't always my strong suit. I'm a little clumsier with this small stuff. See that little ladybug there? I don't know if you can root cuttings or not. I'll try it. Why not? We'll just see if it works, if nothing else. So now we got that big, weird, ugly root out of the way. We'll just do a little cleanup here and try to smooth that out a little bit more. And then after that, we'll take a look at some of these trunks and see which ones we need to add some wire to and bend up. There's a couple of spots on this that I don't know if they're going to make the final cut. You'll see that branch off to the right. Now it's off to the left, since I'm turning it way to the left, farthest on the left. It's kind of in front of a bigger, better trunk. You can sort of see it back there. Hopefully it's making sense. Right, furthest on the right now. So it may have to go. That's the trunk it's blocking right there. So I may get rid of the smaller one in front of it. Or maybe someday I'll get rid of the big one here that I'm pointing at and keep the smaller one. I don't know. Or maybe keep both. Give me your suggestions. Like I said, I haven't done one of these styles really with a ficus, so I'm not sure. I don't have experience with it yet. But so far my gut feeling is to leave it alone and someday maybe have to make a choice between one or the other. Wiring this guy is kind of tricky because there's all these other trunks in the way and smaller, finer branches and these willow-like leaves. So I'm trying to do this and not disrupt anything that I don't have to disrupt. Like I said, this finer detail work is not always my strong suit. I'm a little clumsy with this stuff, this part. But somehow I pull it off. So a little backstory too. I picked up this clump. It was much smaller when I got it a year or so ago. I think I picked it up for like $20 or $25 at a nursery. And yeah, I just thought it was cool. I thought it had character and some potential, so I picked it up. Didn't do a ton with it. I kind of added some wire here or there, and that was about it. So today's the first day I've ever really sat down and looked at it and made a kind of a definitive plan, although it is subject to change. So I wish I would have got some footage in the beginning. I just didn't really think much about it up until now. Yeah, see, that's the one there that I'm wondering about what to do with. There's a few others that need a little bit of bending, and it's kind of hard to tell at the stage it's in what's going on. But so instead of wiring this one, I cheated. I used a cheat code. I just stuck that shish kebab stick. It sort of wedged it so that it's pushing that one trunk outward. That was a lot quicker and easier than wiring it up. So I'm not ashamed at all at cheating this time. And no potential for wiring scars. So 2 birds, 1 stone. So anyways, I guess what I'm thinking about longer term is the canopy is going to be a little bit higher, a little bit. You can see one branch kind of sticking out above the rest. I imagine it around that height, maybe even a little bit higher. But the trunks being about where they are. We just haven't got there yet. Still working on the structural part of it. And the reason I'm bending the trunks outward like this is to give them room to grow and fill out, and for those branches to ramify and split into 2 and then 2 into 4. It's harder to do that when they're all clustered in together. So by bending them outward, they have room to grow. And I'm adjusting, fine-tuning some of these. There's a couple of branches that I have to trim because they're crossing, and so here's a look from, I guess, a bird's eye view. I don't know. It made sense at the time to do this. Now I'm looking at it. I don't know if this makes sense or not. Maybe it does. But it gives an idea of kind of where I'm going with it. See how they're all going up and then outward. Hopefully that perspective made a little sense. So here are some other tweaks I'm going to make. There's a couple other branches that are smaller and I just need them to bend a little more. So I'm just going to try and hook up some guy wire here. Meaning I'm just going to basically hook the branch and pull it down. So I've got a mess of wires going right now. I've got sticks and guy wires and all kinds of wiring going on. So it's under construction, you could say. And I'm using thicker wire, hopefully to avoid the wire biting into the bark. But ficuses have very soft bark, and it bites in quickly and easily. So you have to pay real close attention to them. I'm starting to get less picky with my wiring at this point. I'm just sort of trying to get the last few remaining pieces. I've noticed I have a habit of doing that. At first I'm super careful and methodical about how I'm doing it. And then towards the end, I just need to make a couple little tweaks here and there, and I start getting a little less picky, and I'm like, okay, let's just rig this thing up so that it's in place. So far, it hasn't really bit me, but I'm just doing a little cleanup, just clipping off some little knobs here and there. That branch had to go because it was crossing with the other one. Here's kind of the final look at it. So my clump style willow leaf ficus. It looks a lot better without that weird ugly root popping out of the middle, I have to say. But yeah, I'll post some updates on it when it's time to do an update. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Appreciate everybody who does, and leave any comments that you can think of. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.